in the rugged, wind-swept highlands of Velmora, there lived a man named Cailan Draeger. Towering like the mountain crags he called home, Cailan was a legend long before his name reached the tongues of bards. His strength was not just of sinew and muscle, but something deeper, something ancient. Cailan's power came from a sacred bond made with the Earthheart, an artifact hidden deep beneath the roots of Velmora's oldest tree, the Ashreen. The Earthheart pulsed with the raw strength of the land itself, rivers, roots, stone, and storm. It granted Cailan the power to shatter steel with his fists, to lift fallen trees, and to heal faster than any man had right to. But the pact came with a price. The Earthheart's power required unwavering loyalty and secrecy. Only Cailan and one other knew of it, his wife, Elira. Elira was not like the other mountain folk. Born in the lowlands, she was beautiful, with sharp amber eyes and hair the color of ravens' wings. Cailan had met her during a trade season when her caravan sought safe passage through the highlands. He fell for her not just because of her beauty, but for her intellect, her fierce independence, and the way she listened, truly listened. She learned quickly of his strength, and over time, of its source. She vowed to keep his secret, sealing the promise with blood and kiss. Years passed. Cailan, with Elira at his side, became warden of the highlands, protector of the old ways, and leader of his people. Together, they carved a home from wilderness and kept peace through hard winters and harsher battles. But ambition is a serpent with a silver tongue. Elira grew restless. She watched Cailan command the winds and tame beasts with a word. She saw kings defer to him, villages tremble when he grew angry. And inside her, a hunger bloomed, slow, poisonous, and patient. It wasn't enough to be the warden's wife. She wanted to be more. She wanted to be the warden. One winter, a lowland prince named Theric came to parley with Cailan, requesting an alliance to fight off encroaching invaders. He brought gifts, wine, silk, rare jewels, and he brought eyes for Elira. She, in turn, welcomed his gaze. Over cold nights, they whispered. Elira told him things no outsider should know, of Cailan's oath, of the Earthheart, and of the ritual that tied Cailan's life to it. Together they conspired. Elira, who had once vowed to protect Cailan's secret, now used it against him. On the eve of the spring crescent, a day when the Earthheart's connection was weakest, they lured Cailan away from Ashreen under the pretense of a diplomatic journey. As Cailan rode out, Theric's soldiers struck. Hidden beneath the sacred tree, they dug deep and shattered the Earthheart's stone prison, breaking the bond that had protected Cailan for so long. Cailan felt it at once, a terrible emptiness. His strength drained like blood from an open wound. His breath came harder, his limbs heavier. He returned to Ashreen too late, only to find it desecrated and Elira gone. Theric claimed Velmora within a fortnight. Without Cailan's strength, the Highlanders could not resist. The new regime crowned Elira as Queen Regent of the Northern Reaches. She stood beside Theric, wearing a silver crown and a smile colder than mountain snow. Cailan was cast into exile. Years passed. He wandered the lowlands and forests, broken in body but not in spirit. The betrayal festered like a wound that never closed. He lived among hermits, fought for coin in pit fights, and in time grew strong again, not with Earthheart's blessing, but through hardship, rage, and relentless discipline. He learned of other sources of strength, older magics, buried truths, and wild gods. From a blind druid, he learned the language of stone. From a fire-scarred monk, he mastered the breath of iron. From his own pain, he forged a strength not borrowed, but earned. 10 winters after his fall, the mountain winds whispered of a rebellion in Velmora. Cailan returned, no longer the warden, but something more, an avenger shaped by betrayal. He came cloaked in the pelt of a direwolf, his arms like oaken trunks, his eyes burning with a light not even Elira remembered. One by one, he rallied the clans, not through charisma but through action. He slew beasts plaguing the villages, healed poisoned wells, stood alone against bandit armies. The people saw the return of their true guardian. In the final assault, Kaelin stormed the once sacred hall of Oshrine, now a throne room of decadence. Theric fell first, his neck snapped like dry timber. Elira met Kaelin not with fear, but a twisted smile. "I gave you everything, Kaelin," she said. "And you wasted it on duty." Kaelin's voice was low. "And you sold it for a crown." Their fight was brutal. Elira was no mere queen. She had taken some of the Earthheart's remnants, twisting it with blood rites. Her strength rivaled his. But Kaelin had something she lacked: purpose. He fought not for power, but for redemption. In the end, he overpowered her, though he bore many wounds. He did not kill her. Instead, he cast her into the ruined grove of Oshrine, shackling her to the roots of the broken tree. "Let the land judge you," he said. And it did. Kaelin never reclaimed his title. He refused the throne, instead becoming a nameless guardian of Velmora once more. In silence and solitude, he watched over the mountains, rebuilding what had been broken. His story passed into legend, not just of a man betrayed, but of a man who rose beyond the source of his power and found true strength within. They say the mountain does not forgive, but it remembers. And though Kaelin Draeger had cast aside title and fame, Velmora still whispered his name, on the wind, in the rivers, and through the deep groan of the earth beneath Oshrine's shattered roots. But peace is the brief breath between storms. Years passed. Kaelin lived as a recluse in the northern ridges, deep within a cave that once served as a tomb for an ancient bear god. The people still left offerings at the cave's mouth: goats, firewood, sometimes letters, but he rarely answered. His scars were deep, not just on flesh but in the marrow of memory. Then, one morning, he awoke to a sound he hadn't heard in years: the earth crying. He pressed his calloused hand to the ground, and his breath froze. The land was sick. Not wounded, like when the Earthheart had been broken, but infested. Something foul moved beneath the root. Something awakened. That same day, a raven came, bearing a message in familiar handwriting. "Kaelin, come to the grove. She speaks again." Mora, druid of Oshrine. The sacred grove had become a scar. Where once the great Oshrine tree rose like a god's hand, there was now only a skeletal husk. And beneath its roots, shackled by ancient bindings, knelt Elira. Still alive. Kaelin stood over her, older now, stronger in presence, though age etched his face. Elira looked up at him, hair matted, lips cracked. But her eyes? Still sharp as obsidian. "She's coming," Elira whispered. "You broke the Earthheart, but she was never its only soul." Kaelin frowned. "Who?" "The mother beneath," Mora answered, stepping into the clearing. The druid had aged too, white in her braids and wisdom in her gaze. "A force older than the Earthheart. Older than your pact. She stirs." Kaelin looked to the north. Black clouds curled unnaturally over the distant peak. "Elira knows the rights. Knows the paths you never walked," Mora continued. "We need her." Kaelin's fists clenched. "I vowed never to trust her again." "You don't have to trust her," Mora said. "You just have to stand beside her, one last time." To stop the mother beneath, they had to descend into the womb of stone, a buried temple spoken of in hushed myth. Built before written memory, it was a place where the earth itself breathed. The deeper they went, the more reality frayed, walls whispered, time slowed, and their torches burned blue. Elira walked without chains, but under Kaelin's close watch. Despite her gaunt frame, she moved with certainty, muttering forgotten runes that lit their path. Inside the heart chamber, they found it, a cocoon of flesh and stone pulsing with rot and power. It was not alive, but dreaming, and its dream was seeping into the world, birthing horrors in forgotten caves, twisting forests, and poisoning water. They needed to reforge a bond with the earth. Not through domination, as Kaelin once had, but through balance. "Elira must become the vessel," Mora said. "She broke the Earthheart. Let her become its twin, its reckoning." Kaelin stared at her. "That would destroy her." She destroyed herself long ago, Mora replied. Elira didn't argue. She walked into the cocoon without a word.